everyone, I'm Anna Finch from Finch Press and welcome back to my channel. This is the third video in the series. This is based on what I learnt from publishing my first children's picture book, Hide and Seek Alphabet, and everything in this video is based on my opinion, my experience. What worked for me may not work for you. It's all suggestions, okay? Let's get started. Okay, so in the previous video I mentioned deadlines. You need to make sure you know when you need to have your pre-order uploaded if you're doing a pre-order. So for example, Amazon's KDP, they do not allow you to make any changes to the ebook 3 days before the release. Okay, so I think it's 3 days. Yeah, about 3 to 4 days before the release. So you need to know that. Okay, Amazon will not let you change it after that date. Ingram Spark, which is a print-on-demand service. Okay, you need to be aware of when you can have the ebook uploaded. If you've already put distribute, like make it available for global distribution on Ingram Spark with a pre-order date of say the 21st of October, then you need to make sure the final file is uploaded at least 3 weeks beforehand. Okay, because any later than that, you risk the old edition of your book being printed and sent to the people who buy your book. And that old edition may be full of grammatical errors and you're going to get a whole bunch of bad reviews from it. You don't want that. Now, I checked. It's different if, for example, you set a pre-order date, but you do not enable, you've approved the file, because you have to approve it in order to print an author copy, and you don't enable global distribution, meaning you are the only one that has access to that book. In that situation, as long as you don't press enable global distribution, then whatever print order is done before it is going to be based on the newest file. So if you upload a copy of the book, say the 10th of October, and you change it on the 15th, your release date's on the 21st. If you still haven't put, if you still haven't enabled global distribution, then the file that will be printed when you order an author copy will be the one on the 5th that you uploaded on the 15th, right? So know the deadlines for the platforms when you've got to get these files uploaded. If you're doing pre-order, even if you're not intending to do pre-order, you need to know when you need to have the files uploaded by and how long it will take for the company or the platform to process the files and make your book live. Amazon generally gets it done within 24 hours after hitting publish for a print book. 24 to 72 hours, so 1 to 3 days pretty much. You need to know that. Then another thing, you need to know what your final release date is if there is no delays with illustrations. Create an ultimate deadline just in case there are delays. So this is like the deadline where I cannot release it any later than this, but I'll have an earlier deadline. Like in the best case scenario, if your book is ready early, when would you want it released? So with Melly the Mermaid, I thought the illustrations were going to take longer. So I'm like, I would ideally like to release in March, but if there are delays, I'm more than happy. I would be all right to publish within the first few weeks of July. So I had an early release date picked. Like this is what the release date I want what I want it to be, and this, in like the perfect world, if there's no delays, if everything's done early and on time, this is the date I want. But also, this is the date I can push it back to if there are delays. So I would try and leave yourself plenty of time. I did that with Melly and the Mermaid. Didn't do it with the hide and seek alphabet. I gave myself a very short turnaround with the hide and seek alphabet. All right. So before you hire your illustrator, you need to know what your format is. Are you going to do print? Are you going to do ebook only? Okay. Are you going to do both print and ebook? If you're doing both, what are you going to do? A paperback for your print book? Are you going to do hardcover, or are you going to do both? Okay. Board books are a little bit more tricky to do with a print-on-demand company. So it's going to be hard getting that, but paperback and hardcover you can get done through Ingram. Now, Amazon does have hardcovers, okay, and you can get a color interior, but they need to be over a certain page, a certain number of pages, and there's only like 3 print sizes available in hardcover through Amazon. So chances are, unless your book's not in those 3 trim sizes, if you want a hardcover, you're gonna have to go through Ingram Spark or Lulu. I haven't used Lulu yet. I have not used Smashwords, but considering Smashwords is going to be combining with Draft to Digital, probably will end up putting some of my stuff on the Smashwords platforms. But with print, my pretty much only options here in Australia are Amazon and Ingram Spark, because Ingram Spark's printer for the Oceania region, which includes Australia, New Zealand, parts of Asia, is in Melbourne, and I live in Melbourne, so it means I can get things printed and delivered quicker to me. I don't have to wait months to get an author copy. I can get it within 3 days. I can have a rush printing and have it delivered within 2 days. 1 day printing turnaround, one business day printing turnaround, and a 2-day delivery turnaround, or less. Amazon, same thing. Amazon's printer is in New South Wales, Sydney, not that far from where I am, so I can get things printed and delivered in less than a week, and registered and tracked packages as well. But Lulu, it's printed in the US pretty much, which means it takes longer for things to get here. So you need to know what your format is before you even contact your illustrator, because they need to know if they're designing for print or if they're designing for ebook. Because if you only want to release it as an ebook, the colors that they can use as an illustrator will be much different. They can use more vibrant colors, because those colors, you can see them on the computer screen, but they don't print out because the color doesn't translate well in the ink. Okay. Now, if you are intending to do print, okay, if you're intending to do print and ebook, then the illustrator can take that in mind and design all the images for print. Okay, and it will just happen to be more vibrant when they do the ebook. So they need to know that. You need to know what the layout bleed is for your book. For those of you who don't know, bleed refers to the space around the edges of a book or a page, could be a cover, that could be potentially cut off or damaged during printing. It is basically the area that might be hidden, cut off. So it's basically important to make sure any of your important text, images, is within the safe zone of the page and is nowhere in the bleed. So what should be in the bleed is either background or white space. Okay. To work out whether or not what your layout is and what your bleed is, go to the local library. Go to the children's section. It's free. Okay. Look at the most common book sizes what are the common colors and illustration styles for your type of book? So what I noticed when I went to the library is illustrated books using Australian animals, with Australian animals as central character, used soft watercolors. There were soft watercolors, like a whimsy style. It was very soft. Whereas, like for example, a mermaid book generally has more vibrant colors. So look at the colors and illustration styles. Do you have to use the same sort of styles that they are doing and same type of colors? No. I did it with the Australian alphabet book. I intended to hire someone for a watercolor style, but the illustrator I found, one of the illustrators I found, was too expensive in Australian dollars. But the one I went with, she was going to try to do like a cartoony watercolor style, but her strengths are digital art. So I got a sample page. I'm like, as long as it's cartoony, so it's for children, and it doesn't look too realistic, go ahead with the digital style. She produced an amazing piece of art, so I went with her. And it's not a watercolor style, it doesn't use the same palette, but it is still interesting for the reader. When you're looking at the children's books, look at the bleed, if there is a bleed in the book. So does it have a white edge around the picture? Is there just like one image in the middle of a character doing something and white space around it? Or does the image go from edge of the page to the other edge of the page? Is the image landscape or portrait? Again, this will depend on the size of your book. For example, with the alphabet book, I went, and for Melly the Mermaid, I went 8.5 by 8.5 inch, which is a square. It's a small square. So the images, if it's a spread, would be like a landscape image, whereas a activity book might be 8 by 11 inch, 8.5 by 11 inch. So it might be longer, the picture, and narrower, right? And that might be a portrait style book. So look at whether they're portrait or landscape. Find the cover sizes for the platforms you are using. Find out where the safety areas are bleeds. While you can use a cover you designed for Ingram Spark with KDP, because the safety areas are pretty much the same, I would make sure your cover is also on the KDP template as well as the Ingram Spark template, and you have separate covers. Same design, but separate cover files for each platform, because you need to make sure it works with the actual platform. Ingram Spark gives you the barcode with the template. You just need to make it visible on the back of the book. KDP leaves a box for where the barcode's going to go, and they expect you to leave it blank so they can print the barcode on. You need to know what the page size is with the bleed, safe zone, and spine before you start doing any illustrations, or if you hire an illustrator, they need to know that. Blurb and title. You need to make sure your blurb is written in a way that engages both a child reader and grabs the attention of the adult purchasing it. It should be short, engaging. Your book description you put on Amazon will be longer. Now, I didn't put a longer book description for Hide and Seek Alphabet because I just used the same blurb on the back of the book for that one. I may get someone to do a longer book description for me later on, but at this stage, that's what I've put. If you don't know how to write a blurb, you can always hire a blurb writer for your book. You can ask a friend to read it and write a blurb for you. Finalize your title. You can ask other readers, other writers, friends for their opinion. It should be catchy, and something a kid can say. Hide and Seek Alphabet with Australian animals. fairly simplistic. It's literally telling you what the book's about in the title. Yeah. You need to work out whether or not you're going to do it yourself or hire a professional when it comes to illustrations. Be realistic about what your drawing is like. Can it match the quality of traditionally published books? If the answer is a no, then maybe you should hire a professional to do the illustrations. Or you find stock images that you can alter and change with commercial license. But be honest and realistic about what your drawing is like. If your drawing is good, how long does it take you to do a rough sketch or a spread or a fully coloured page? So I just recently did for an activity book, I did a double page where I wrote, I literally set it out same way the worksheets or the activity book will be set out. I did it in large. Took me 30 minutes. So it took me less time than the budgie one. But doing an entire storyboard or sketch to get a rough layout took me a good 4 hours. And even then, that's because I rushed and skipped and they're just like, I can't be bothered doing the entire image. Box, image goes here. So you need to know how long it will take you to do the entire thing or each page, because then you can work out how much time, what your deadline needs to be. If you are thinking about doing it yourself, I highly suggest you do a sample spread, a rough sketch, and colour it in, possibly. Ask someone if they like it. Would it look good in the book? Can it match or stand up to the quality of trad pub books? Another important thing to consider is, do you work a full-time job? Okay. If yes, would you be able to properly dedicate the time to complete the illustrations and everything else by the deadline? I had to work that out, okay, because I did this rough sketch for hide and seek alphabet. I had an image on my screen as a reference, and I drew everything myself on this sketch, on this sample spread. I mean, one of the bits at the end was cut off, but it took me more than 40 minutes just to do the rough sketch. No colouring, no outlining in pen or markers. It took me 40 plus minutes. Okay, let's round it up to an hour. So if it takes me an hour to do a sketch on paper, it's probably going to take me just as long to do a digital sketch for each individual page. And altogether, each page, so this is a spread that you're seeing on the screen, 2 pages. For each individual page, drawing it, colouring it in, making sure it fits on the format, I'm looking at 3 hours plus for each page. I work a full-time job. I'm a teacher. I've got lesson plans. Now, while at the moment my senior classes, my most senior class is doing exams, therefore I'm not teaching them at the moment, that doesn't mean my workload has dropped. If I wanted to release this in 10 years' time, maybe I would do the illustrations myself, because I could take my time, do a 1 page a week, a rough sketch, 1 page a week, 1 spread a week, and then colouring in another stage. But I don't have that time. You need to be realistic whether or not you actually have that time yourself. Okay, so you need to think about it. Okay, now I normally draw manga. I generally draw people. This is the first time I drew animals. Okay, first time I drew animals where the only thing in the image is animals and landscape. Landscape, backgrounds, not my thing. Animals, drawing animals, not my thing. Yeah, so You need to be realistic. Can you dedicate this large chunk of time to doing it? I decided with the ABC, like the alphabet picture book, after doing the rough sketch and seeing how long it took me, I was like, I like how it turned out. I'm proud of myself for doing this rough sketch, this spread, but no, I'm not going to illustrate the entire book. I do not have the time or the energy. So I decided to hire an illustrator. Doesn't mean that I won't ever illustrate my own book. I probably will, but it probably won't be a bleed page with a bleed. Platforms for hiring an illustrator. So your options include Fiverr, Upwork, 99 Designs, or you can try and find an independent illustrator yourself, looking at their websites, portfolios on DeviantArt, and hiring them outside of the platforms. Here's the thing you need to be aware of. If you are hiring outside of those platforms and you're hiring the illustrator directly, be aware that they may be more expensive. Be aware that they may also not transfer copyright. Also, be aware that if something goes wrong or your illustrator doesn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver and you're doing this independently, and this is a worst case scenario, you have pretty much no one to contact about the problem because they're the ones running the site themselves. You hired them directly. It's not a company that they work with or a platform they work on that is managing the fees and stuff. They are. That's a worst case scenario. Okay. Even if you have a contract with an independent illustrator from outside of these platforms, or a contract's a piece of paper. Especially, like in my case, I live in Australia. Okay, the legal system in Australia is very different to the legal system in the US. Okay, in Australia, I don't need to pay for copyright. Okay, copyright's automatic. The moment I write something, physically write something, it's my idea. It's my work. I get copyright. Images, same thing. Images can be like control over images can be transferred, but the laws that affect me in Australia are very different to the ones in the US or in any other country, really. So if you are in my situation in Australia, okay, Australian illustrators are very expensive. Okay, and I'm talking like, I think the cheapest Australian illustrator I found was per hour, $40 per hour. Most commonly I saw above 50. I even saw a couple of Australian illustrators for like $100 an hour. I don't have that money. Okay. So in my situation, I literally cannot go to an Australian illustrator, not normally, okay, for a 50-page plus book, coloured picture book. No, I can't afford to go to an Australian illustrator. And even if I could, okay, I want an illustrator that will do the best quality work. And if you, like in my situation where I went and hired someone who was not from Australia, okay, their legal system may be very different. Okay, there may not be, it may be extremely difficult if you're in a situation where the illustrator doesn't deliver the files that they said they were going to deliver and you've already paid them, or other way around. They've delivered the files and you as the illustrator haven't paid them, or you as the author or the person hiring them hasn't paid them. It's very difficult for either side in either scenario, whether the author didn't pay the illustrator, okay, or whether the illustrator didn't deliver the files they were supposed to for payment. It is very hard to deal with the issue. Okay, getting a lawyer and dealing with someone that's overseas legally can be a nightmare, and it might be too expensive. This is just my opinion, okay? And that's in a worst case scenario. But places like Fiverr, Upwork, 99 Designs, and there may be others, I just don't know about them, they offer you some sort of safety net. Fiverr, if you put in an order, or the illustrator or person on Fiverr sends you the custom offer, you accept it, you pay for it beforehand, okay? It is held in trust by Fiverr until you are satisfied with the product, until the person's delivered the product and you are satisfied with the product. They don't deliver, you get your money back. They act on your behalf. Okay. Upwork, same sort of thing. You prepay the milestones if you're doing a fixed contract. Okay. And they hold it until you're happy with the product that they're delivering. 99 Designs, same thing. You prepay, all the money's held in trust. If there's an issue or a conflict between the illustrator and the author, or the illustrator and the publisher, they can step in and help both parties. Okay, Fiverr can help with any issues in between both parties. Upwork can do the same. It acts as a safety net. Now, obviously, be aware, these platforms charge fees. Okay, Upwork, if you are doing a fixed contract, every time, like for every milestone you set, whatever the price is, they charge a fee, which is a percentage of that, whatever it is that's being charged for the milestone, and they add it on top. Okay, so I didn't know that. I know now. Fiverr, they charge a fee. 99 Designs, they charge a fee. But in return, you get that extra layer of protection. Not just you, though, gets that layer of protection. The illustrator gets that layer of protection. Because if you, as the author, are not paying them, or messing around and saying, oh, maybe this or maybe that, and you're not being straightforward with them, okay, and you're not listening to reasonable requests for extension of deadlines and things like that, then they have that safety net of this platform that can represent them and help deal with the issue. Contracts, even if you're using Upwork or Fiverr, I would suggest having a contract that clearly sets out the terms of the relationship, the professional relationship between you and the illustrator. 99 Designs already has a contract built in, which basically says anything designed on the platform, the illustration or the copyright is basically given to the person buying it. Basically, any artist on 99 Designs, whether it's a web design, illustration, character art, whatever, they're agreeing to their terms, which is basically once the illustration is done, copyright's transferred to the person that paid for it. Fiverr, Upwork, that term is not part of their program, not part of their platforms. So if you need copyright transferred to you, or commercial use transferred to you, you need a contract and have it actually written in black and white. This is what you are getting in return for X cost. Because the contract will help if, for example, the platforms don't actively help you in fixing whatever the issue is. The contract can help because it is a legal document once it's signed. Yeah. Now, I used Upwork for Hide and Seek Alphabet. For Melly the Mermaid, I used Fiverr. For Voiceless, I got the cover design through 99 Designs. So I've used all three of them. 99 Designs was very expensive for a cover, but I got paperback, hardcover. The dust jacket I did myself, but the case laminate cover for a hardcover, large print, ebook, audiobook. Now, obviously, the initial design was for the paperback / ebook, but I've used all three. They're all very easy to use. With Fiverr, to find an artist on Fiverr, literally just go to Fiverr, type in children's picture book illustrations, look through the artists. You can select the level 1 seller, you can select a pro seller, level 2. You can do a couple of selections to filter the results. You can pick a particular style as well. Have a look at the artists, have a look at their portfolios, see what style you like or what fits your book. Look at their previous work, cost per illustration or spread. Are they charging you for a singular page, or are they charging you for a spread, so 2 pages? It can help you calculate the cost of a book. So if they're charging you $50 per every non-spread page, right? If that was what the illustrator was charging, just for the interior, you can work out that, okay, if you've got a 50-page book, 50 by 50, or in the case of Hide and Seek Alphabet, 58 pages. So you got a 58-page book, and they're charging $50 per page, $2,900. You can work out a rough cost. All right, so you can work out a rough cost, and you can, by working out the rough cost, you know, okay, this one's going to be too expensive, way outside my budget, go to the next person, and you can help narrow it down. Okay, because this is the interior, not including cover. Okay, they may not be able to create covers. Look at what they can also do. Look at their other jobs. Can they do covers? Can they do formatting, typesetting? Right? Contact them. Organize a sample illustration. So through Fiverr, none of them are going to offer free sample illustrations. That you will be charged for a sample illustration, even if it's just like $15. They'll charge you something for a sample illustration, and they're right to. On that particular platform, because if you're hiring them, if you're asking them, hey, I want a sample illustration for my book, now, as they don't know if you're going to go with them. So I understand charging for a sample illustration, okay, because they are putting effort and time into creating something that you may decide, I don't like, and I'm going to go with someone else, and they should be paid for their work. Now, with Upwork, they've got a couple of ways. So with Upwork, you can find an illustrator by searching for them. You can literally type in illustrators. You can narrow it down with filters. Or you can create a job listing on Upwork once you've created an account, outlining what you want for the job. Okay, what do you need? What skills should they have? And basically, illustrators are told about, with those skills, are told about the job. They basically apply for the job. They send you a message, say, hey, I'm interested in this. This is my skills. Here's my portfolio. And you select from there. With Upwork, okay, some of them may offer sample illustrations for free. Confirm the details. Can't make sure they can do what you need them to do, that they have the experience that they say. Look at their portfolio. Find images similar to what you need. Can they do it? What style do they have? And you can narrow it down from there. All right. That's pretty much it for this video. My new book, Hide and Seek Alphabet with Australian Animals, is available on all major retailers. I've got the links down below. Check it out if you are interested. Okay, that's it. See you next time.